Okay, so I wanted to make a video. This is crypto, by the way. Crypto Omar here on Monday, talking about why I think Ethereum is a great cryptocurrency to invest in versus something like Bitcoin, which I also hold some of, for the record. I tend to get some users who think I'm only an Ethereum maximalist and I only really care about Ethereum, and I'm so pro Ether and no other coin. And so it's not necessarily that I hold Ethereum in an altar, in a place above all others permanently. I just definitely have the confidence in that cryptocurrency and its future roadmap versus other cryptocurrencies. And I wanted to share with you guys why I think that is and compare it to some other popular cryptocurrencies. So, Ethereum. Its main token is called Ether, and that is the equivalent of one Bitcoin. Ethereum is a whole platform. Ether is the money that exists on the platform. Except it's not meant to be money. It's not money according to the original developers. So the original developers, such as Vitalik and his team, they said that Ether is meant to be used as gas, because Ethereum is a platform and a blockchain like Bitcoin. However, instead of just being able to send money, you can also send data, and it's processed by computers all around the world, keeping that data secure and unstoppable moving forward. And so gas is a small little fee paid in Ether that you have to pay every single time you send data, money, Ether, another token built on the platform, or anything else. So you have this Ethereum blockchain. Gas is the energy that keeps that system afloat. It is the light. It is water. It is gold. It is the life of the Ethereum network. And so whenever you send any sort of transaction, there's a small, minute fee you have to pay in Ether. And you have to pay it. It's just the only way. And that cost for transactions is what keeps part of the network secure from spam attacks, because nobody wants to spam the entire network if they have to pay in Ether constantly for every single little attack. And so it keeps it secure, and it keeps a demand for Ether going up. However, on Ethereum, the network, you can build your own token. So Digix, backed by gold, is building a token. Plutus is building an NFC type token. So with your phone, you can pay at pretty much any store that accepts Visa using your Plutus tokens. And that's going to allow you to pay with Ether, in a way, Ethereum network. So you have all these different tokens. You can make your own token on the Ethereum network. And they each have to pay for their transactions with Ether. So Ether is the base gas that you have to pay for transactions with. However, the reason I believe that Vitalik is not trying to call Ether money or currency like Bitcoin does is because he is a very smart man. He's a very smart little chap. Because if he calls Ether a currency, that opens it up to a lot more regulation from governments, in my opinion. Think about it. If you call it money, that basically says you're competing with the money that the government prints, which they don't want you to do. They want you to keep their US dollars or their Japanese yen. So if you try to call it money, they will will be able to more easily in a court of law regulate your currency. So what you do is instead you make it a commodity like oil. You call it gas, or a small fee paid for in Ether, basically, which is your gas to pay for transactions. It's just gas, it's just a commodity, but there's still demand for it, like for oil, so it holds value compared to real currencies like Bitcoin or the US dollar. Now, Bitcoin has no issue with regulation, because if you think about it, it's very difficult to attack a network that's decentralized and was created by a person who disappeared, Satoshi Nakamoto, who doesn't exist. You can't scapegoat this guy. Whereas it's very easy to look at the Ethereum Foundation and shut them down in a way. And I think a lot of what gives this platform its growth, value, its everything is the developers being able to fix bugs in a second, being able to fork when necessary, as the entire crowd would like to do democratically, and has built infrastructure that continues to develop and grow, hold conferences, is constantly developing and pushing forward. I think that they are what's driving Ether forward, and smart contracts. So this is the first part of what I wanted to talk about, and I share that with you. And yeah, I think Ether is very much a currency. It's just called gas, and that shouldn't scare anyone away from using it. It's just a regulatory concern so they don't get sued, and that's another bullish thing for me. The team is very, very smart, way ahead of their time, and I think jumping on board earlier rather than later is a very smart thing to do, because in hindsight, in the past, that's 2020. I can look back and see what I should have done. But to look forward takes a little bit of risk and reward. So just a few more ideas for you guys to think about before you invest some or further into Ether versus other cryptocurrencies. So take care, guys. It's Crypto out. I'll try to continue this in the later video. Subscribe, like, comment, and please share this video. You can share it on Twitter. You can share it on Facebook groups. You can share it on Google. Whatever. Share with other people who care about cryptocurrency, or help them come on board. And take care of yourselves. Bye.